Good morning, Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. July 9th. Friday, July 9th. Guess we have a little bit of a tropical storm here coming through New York, through the East Coast. So it is awesome. Let's see my sound check. Sound check. I think I'm live and you can hear me. My notification disappeared from my sound check. All right. So good morning, everybody. It is July 9th, and I'm in my office. It's about 7:45 a.m. Got a few people joining. Good morning, everybody. If you're tuning in live, just drop a comment, hashtag live. If it's on the replay, hashtag replay. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Joel. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a great week. Hope everybody had a great 4th last week. Weather was great last week. It's rainy, though, right now. Really rainy. Jamie and I were in Jamestown, and we got a phone call saying that, although it was flooded, not really flooded, but that there was a massive amount of rain coming down. We're in Jamestown, and there's nothing going on right now. So I didn't get to run yesterday morning, so I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to get back to Ellenville, and I have to do my daily run, and it's going to be in the pouring rain, which I don't mind because I have a raincoat, and I'd wear those 5-finger shoes, and it doesn't matter if I'd get wet, and I don't mind that. But I was able to do my run yesterday without any rain when I got back to Ellenville, so that was nice. But on all, it's supposed to rain for like the next week here, with the forecast is. But the forecast, we never go by the forecast unless it's day of, because it changes constantly. So it's supposed to rain here until 10. I didn't get to run yet today, and it's supposed to start raining at 3 again. We have a billiard table that's getting put together today in the Airbnb, so I got to head up there in a little bit. Our pool is in, the filter's on, the heat's on, everything's rocking and rolling. Stamped concrete is coming hopefully next week, the week after, the fence. So our Airbnb pool is going to be awesome. Rocking and rolling on that. So a lot of cool things happening here. But I wanted this morning to talk about farmed salmon. Farmed salmon's future. Farmed salmon's future. So if you know a chef, tag them in here. If you know somebody who eats salmon, tag them in here. Share this video with them. This is an important video on salmon and the future of salmon, of farmed salmon. For me, this is great news. What just got announced here in a specific country. This is really fantastic news. But first off, most chefs justify serving farm salmon. They say, oh, we have a different salmon, we have a sustainable salmon. Companies, it's all marketing, it's all BS. All these organic salmon, sustainable salmons, lock and do heart, all this kind of stuff still has massive amounts of mortalities. They're still feeding their fish toxic chemicals, pesticides in the feed. It's still net protein loss. They're putting more protein into the feed than they're actually gaining in the salmon. So it doesn't matter, like, if they're doing less density in this net. It's called scammon. Farmed salmon is called scammon, and if any chef out there will justify serving farmed salmon, I'd be happy to talk to them, enlighten them, debate them, show them that they're serving a very, very toxic food that is bad for the environment, bad for you, bad for the fish. It's just not a good thing at all. So, and more governments are realizing this now, which is the fantastic part. So a couple years ago, Washington State banned all new salmon farms. No more open pen aquaculture in Washington State. When their leases expire, they expire because there's been devastation there. British Columbia is fighting it like crazy. The natives, the First Nation people, are occupying salmon farms. They're fighting it. They have the water rights. They're trying to get them out as well. Norway, years and years ago, said enough with you companies. And this is really what happened. Norway put their foot down on a lot of this stuff because these Norwegian salmon farming companies destroyed Norway. And Norway was like, this is terrible. So they made more stringent laws. And then so what happens now is all these Norwegian companies went all across the globe to wherever they could actually set up shop, manipulate the government, and spread their toxic salmon. And then, of course, as marketing has evolved, marketing business, marketing products, they've come up with some useless words that they fool a lot of people with, like sustainability, organic, low density, the different salmon, the best farm salmon, whatever, the most sustainable farm salmon. They come up with these logos, these fancy things. They hire chefs. They get Martha Stewart. They get these chefs to come in and they sponsor them, and all of a sudden we think, oh wow, look at these great salmon. And you go to a high-end restaurant that says we're farm to table, we serve the best ingredients, and sure enough, they have toxic salmon on their menu, toxic farmed salmon, no matter what it says. So the salmon industry is extremely manipulative in their marketing, manipulative in the way their transparency. They are not transparent at all, and they go in and throw some money around to these governments. So Norway was tightened it up, and so now Canada, Chile, Australia, New Zealand, all these other, Maine, both coasts of Canada, just got infiltrated massively with these big salmon farms. And of course, once they start going in, these salmon farms, they don't realize until, a decade later or 2 decades later that, oh my gosh, we made some big mistakes here. We made some big mistakes by letting these salmon farms come in and do their thing. So, all right, here's some really, really, really good news that I think is fantastic news. So Argentina takes the lead as the world's first country to ban salmon farming. Argentina stepped up and they said, we're not going to allow it here. So this article is in the Green Queen, and this is from July 5th. So this is current news, folks. Last updated July 6th. Legislators in the province of Tierra del Fuego have just made salmon farming in marine cages illegal. The move makes Argentina the first country in the world to introduce such a ban. It came after months of campaigning from residents, neighboring Chilean communities, and NGOs who were concerned about the environmental destruction of the industry. Last week, the Argentine province of Tierra del Fuego banned salmon farming. The bill was approved unanimously by legislators, and the decision makes Argentina the first country in the world to ban the industry. Saying no to salmon farms is possible. There have been many widespread concerns over the environmentally destructive salmon farming industry from the public and the nonprofit organizations. Back in 2019, Tierra del Fuego signed an agreement with Norway to begin producing salmon in marine cages. The region is located in the most southern part of Argentina, where the cold water environment makes salmon farming viable. The salmon farming agreement was opposed by local and neighboring Chilean residents. They partnered with NGOs like Rewilding Argentina to call for greater conservation of their biodiverse waters. Together, their efforts led to the decision to pause the project. Later on, provincial legislators went further to present a bill to ban salmon industry by law. It was put forward by Pablo Viejas and Vice Governor Monica I can't pronounce her last name, Monica Uzquaya. This message is clear. If we work with our head and our heart, that translates into achievements, commented Viejas, saying no to salmon farms is possible. Environmental destruction from salmon farming. Salmon farming is associated with a litany of environmental harms, from destroying local fauna to entangling marine animals. It also exacerbates toxic algae blooms that are known as red tide. There are health concerns too, with these farms being hotbeds of bacterial resistance, rising aquaculture diseases, and salmon mortalities. According to a Just Economics report, salmon farming industry is responsible for negative externalities that toppled $47 billion between 2013 and 2019. $47 billion in damages salmon farms have caused. This is from salmon escaping and all kinds of things. Fighting for ocean protection around the world. Activists campaigning for the ban say Argentina is leading by example to the rest of the world. Most importantly, the decision put greater pressure on Chile to take similar measures. An unsustainable demand for seafood grows. Salmon farming is rising in the biodiverse Chilean regions of Los Lagos and Magallanes. Representative of the Yagan community, David Adley, believes that banning salmon farming will be crucial to protecting the region's wildlife environment. The Yagan community are the original inhabitants of the southernmost region of the world. After the approval of the bill, he said he sees future where abundant environment, agriculture, biodiversity can thrive. So, and then in this product goes on to further say, Don Sanford, head of the Global Alliance Against Industrial Aquaculture, who has been on our Facebook Lives, who's been on my YouTube. Don is a friend of ours. He's been fighting for 2 decades in Scotland, because Scotland's a disaster when it comes to farm salmon, like disaster. The bays stink there, the stench, the dead fish, the stuff that covers the shoreline of all the oil that comes out of the salmon. It's Scotland is one of the worst areas to eat salmon, and you see these chefs advertising, "Oh, got organic Scottish salmon." You do not have organic Scottish salmon. You have what is the worst farm salmon in the whole world. When you say Scottish salmon, 22 out of every 100 fish die in Scotland. The mortality rate, 22% mortality rate, because the fish are living in such a toxic environment. And you have these chefs saying, "Oh, I've got Scottish salmon's the best," and this and that. It's not. It's a lie. It is totally a lie, and these chefs buy into it. And these chefs know. Come on, these countries know. These people know. Chefs can very easily know that, but they justify because it's so darn cheap. So darn cheap. Like, you can go in the Restaurant Depot and get farm salmon for $3 a pound. It is so darn cheap. Prices have gone up since then. But literally a few months ago, $3 a pound for farm salmon. It is so cheap. Supposedly the best salmon out there, Faroe Island salmon, gets $6-7 a pound. But that's still nothing compared to what the true cost of wild salmon is. So Don Sanford says, "I've been fighting the global salmon farming industry for over 2 decades, and the tide is now turning against this toxic industry. This is a watershed victory in Argentina, which will make waves around the world," Sanford continued. "A global ban on open-cage salmon farming can help safeguard the health of our global oceans and the health of our children for generations to come." So there you go. Argentina is leading the way. I have a friend that comes up from Argentina most summers. And known him for 18 years, and big landholder down there, plays polo, and great guy, and he has lots and lots of land, and he raises cattle. And in Argentina, he told me this a decade ago. He goes, "Marcus, if I were to use hormones, antibiotics in my cattle, and I were to get caught doing this in Argentina," he goes, "I'd be blacklisted from selling cattle in Argentina." That's how strict they are down there. They are fighting for real natural foods. And he goes, so this doesn't surprise me that Argentina is doing this. He's like, if I get caught pumping stuff, hormones, growth hormones, stimulants into the cattle, he goes, I'll be blacklisted here. It's something you don't do in Argentina. So that's no surprise that Argentina is now making this move here. I'm not surprised by reading this based upon my conversations with him years ago. So Argentina leading the way. But you know who needs to lead the way on this? Who needs to lead the way is us, the consumers, and the chefs. We're the ones who need to lead the way, because if we didn't buy their toxic crap, they would not have a market for it, and then they wouldn't be there. All right, all revolves around the dollar, voting with our wallet. When you go in and let a chef know, hey, serve better salmon, or we're not going to eat the salmon. It's not. I'm going to go to a place that does better salmon. They let people know we're the ones who make change. We're the ones who can ban it ourselves, right? I banned farm salmon in my restaurant in my career, back in 1999, 2000. I banned farm salmon. Okay, I'm 21 years ahead of Argentina. I'm ahead of all these other places. I banned it. All right, so. And I've seen a lot of chefs, even local chefs, that quote-unquote sustainable chefs and farm to table, that switch from wild salmon to farm salmon because it's cheaper. They can make more money on it. And they're somehow believing the hype, the propaganda, the advertising, the marketing from these companies, saying, oh, yeah, this is, So some of the best farm to table restaurants in the Hudson Valley are still serving toxic farmed salmon. It's shocking. It's shocking that they call themselves, real food, or that they're using better quality ingredients, this and that, and you go right to their menu and it's farm salmon. In Jamestown the other day, talking to a restaurant owner, talked to several restaurant owners and managers. So we like to sit at the bar and like to talk and meet people, and the one guy was like, oh, our salmon's wild here. I looked at the menu, I said, it says Bay of Fundy. He goes, no, it's wild. I said, Bay of Fundy is not wild. Bay of Fundy is a bay up in northeast Canada. It's cold, clean, turbulent bay. It's known to raise supposedly the best salmon, and that's their marketing. Clean, turbulent bay. And he goes, I'll go find out from my chef. Comes back, he goes, you're right, it's farmed. And this is somebody who knows the difference. This is somebody who actually studies health and eats healthy themselves and knows the difference. And folks, many restaurant owners will serve their family different food than they're actually serving you, the guest, because they know the difference. They're not stupid. They're not. I mean, this isn't a stupid thing. It's just they sell out for money. Instead of trying to market a more expensive product and create a value for a more expensive product and create the value and market it, they just rather just buy the cheapest product and just sell the cheapest product and almost charge the same that I'm charging for the true wild salmon that's 3 times the price, 4 times the price. It's insane what these people do. And you know, we walk into a restaurant that's you walk into a restaurant that has farm salmon on their menu, and it's literally $25, $30 for farmed salmon. Folks, it's $3-4 a pound. A pound. No wonder why the portion size is 10 ounces. Because they put on the plate costs them literally $1.50, $2 sometimes to put the salmon on the plate. Then a few little vegetables and potatoes, and they're charging $25 for it. It's mind-boggling and blowing. Just mind. And then they're saying, well, we have a better salmon. Our salmon's better. It's from the Bay of Fundy. It's from British Columbia. It's whatever. It's all toxic salmon. Folks, share this with other chefs. Encourage other chefs to ban salmon. You as consumers ban farm salmon. And that's the way we're going to change this industry, by fighting back with these people and taking away their money. That's it, folks. I'm out of here for now. We'll talk to you later. And I'll do another live later. I'll go over some local events, some events that are coming up and things like that. But I figured I want to separate this information. It's really good information. So pass it on, share it with the chef, share it with consumers, share it with people who care, and let's all ban it together. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.